This actually feels so weird because I use usually for the reviews a different chair, which is just way higher than this one can get. And therefore I kind of have to sit as high as possible on this one because I don't want to change the camera angle all the time. And now I can't even reach with my feet to the ground. And that's why I feel like I'm sitting on a child's chair. But I would say let's get ready to ramble. And I have 3 topics, which I will get into after I'm doing one thing that I want to do from now on every rambling. That is kind of giving you my feedback on the feedback that you gave me on the last rambling. And I actually would have had way more to talk about if my memory would have been better, because I just can't remember half of what you said anymore. Yeah, goldfish brain. But what I remember actually, some people talked about the PC, or at least a few comments. What I wanted to say about that, last time I said I wanted to build a PC system with the 1700X, the Ryzen. That plan for now seems a little bit something different, because I would actually really like, and I will try to do my best, even if I have to spend more money, to get the Threadripper. I guess the 1900, the rumored one, or maybe the 1900, I mean the 1920 or the 1920X. I don't know yet. Overkill PC, for sure. I don't need that much power because I don't edit it that kind of complex that I would need it, but I definitely want to. So let me get just my few topics in check, just so I don't forget the most important ones. The few other things that I wanted to talk about is the one thing. People have commented on one thing that I actually, that's really quick, I'm not quite sure if I was in check, that I shouldn't change my review style, and that was never the plan. I just talked about that, talking about what style I have and the limitations and so on, but I was fully aware of that the way it is, that I'm okay with that. I won't change anything here, so don't worry about that, because I know it's not perfect. I know it's, yeah, it is what it is, but it's my style and it's the way I like. And actually, I wanted to also address one more thing. People said that I said I wasn't professional, and that's not kind of true. Many said I would be quite professional, especially with the amount of details that I provide. Now, here is the one thing that I kind of went in the wrong way when I talked about professional, because when I talk about professional, what I just mean by that is, in the YouTube realm, that you have to make scripted reviews, you have to say everything as it would be a fact, not that it is subjective or your opinion. You just have to sell it the way people just buy it, not the way I do it, which then people always say, it's his opinion, who knows if he's right or so on. So that's what I meant by professional, and also always trying to be very positive, very, I would say, kind of shallow actually, just not getting too depth into anything, not being too critical, because the more critical you get, and that is actually my first topic that I will go into later, the harder things will get. But that was already kind of it about those things that I can still remember that I wanted to talk about. But since it's a rambling, sometimes maybe things will pop up in my head. Usually it happens at some point, usually a little bit later than I would like it to be. But let's get to the topics that I have. I have 3 ones. And the first one, since I've talked about critical, is the following. I would definitely from you like to get the feedback if I am, and I asked this already once again, but I still want to know it because some things sometimes change over time. Am I too critical? Am I still too critical? Because the last time when I said, am I too critical or am I too negative? People said, yes, you are in many ways. But also pretty much most of the people that commented, I would say like about 80% said, I am critical, but they want that because they want someone to point out the flaws more than most others usually do, because I'm usually the one, I would personally say, or no, let's say it a different way. Some of you actually say they like my honesty, they like that I have the balls not to be afraid of saying something and maybe getting some backlash from the fans, from possible brands or something like that. But for me, that's not up for a discussion. It has nothing to do with having balls. It has nothing to do with being honest. Of course, yes, honest, but that's just the way I am. Because I've said it so many times. This is my hobby. And I really, if I get the chance to play with tech, enjoy, and this gives me a lot of positive feelings back, want to share my opinion with you, and I want to provide you with the best possible information for you to buy something. And what would I gain if I would tell you something, anything different than the truth? I don't really ever tell you buy this, or buy this. For what? I don't really get it, because affiliate links, yeah, nice and that, all that, but I think I've often enough said don't buy this or don't buy that. I would really like to sit a little bit higher, so maybe a kind of in-between solution will come up, but I can't sit on the other chair for that long as the rambling's gone, because last time almost my knees were kaput. Now, I guess this is good enough for you to give me some feedback, because I actually was back then, like a year ago when I asked it the last time, I think actually more critical than I'm now, but not because I let things slide now, but I just know now a little bit more what people actually want to know from me and what they hear. Not about what they want to hear, because sometimes I know if I would just leave this out, or if I leave this out, at least the fanboys would actually like to not know about this, but I won't make them this what's that actually called? I don't know the word but right now, but yeah, I want to do them that favor, yeah, because you have to know it all, and if it hurts, it hurts, because you have to know the whole picture to properly judge. If you don't know everything, or at least everything that should be at least known, I don't think it's worth being even talked about, and that's why I don't like shallow reviews. That's why I like too positive reviews. Not a fan of that, and I won't go that way. So just to cover that, and I still would say that I am too picky, but not unnecessarily. Definitely not too hard anymore, because sometimes I say something that I don't like, but that's where I'm gonna leave it. I just mention it and it's done. Back in the days, I repeated it over and over again. So I think I've progressed in that way. Okay. Second thing is being marketable as a YouTuber. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, the following thing. If a brand, for example, let's say a big brand, usually retweets bigger YouTubers on videos, so let's check his review, he did a great one, check his one. These are always, and yeah, this is always a common thing when I talk about reviews, a scripted review, because they are just, in my opinion, way more like ads, and they are way more marketable. And if someone, which is pretty much the biggest part of the YouTubers, does videos like these, you can market these, you can share these wherever you want, and whoever sees these gets a kind of good enough amount of information. I still think too shallow in most situations, just not critical enough, too sugar-coated, and I'm not a fan of sugarcoating. And those can be marketed. Now what I'm doing, and what a lot of, let's say, those underground YouTubers do, those more raw YouTubers do, can't be marketed as well. So that's why we don't get invited to events and so on, because if we would, people would actually sometimes get the picture that most brands don't want you to see from the outside. Because for example, if I would get to an event, I don't care about the whole outside, about the presentation. So I want to know about the specs, I want to know about the device itself, and that's what I'm going to tell you. And I would then already, if I would maybe make a hands-on review or something like that, or a hands-on video on an event floor, I would already then start to judge. I would say, yeah, the design, yeah, the speaker, yeah, speaker is a little bit harder to judge, but the display and so on and so on. But they don't kind of want this already to be out. What they want is kind of to give you an overview from those YouTubers. And that's what you usually get, is always, if a device comes out brand new, what they do is look at these lines, look at the buttons. We have this, we have the speaker here, we have a 1080p display, we have a Quad HD display, we have the speaker, we have a camera and all that. And that is pretty much the exact same thing that they release on the release spreadsheet, that they release in their ads. And they kind of just want you to spread that out in your way, so people just know the same information. Because whenever you see a hands-on video, it's always the same. So that's why you could just watch one, pick the YouTuber of your choice, and you will get the same exact information as from anyone else. Because what they never do in these kind of hands-on videos is trying to think, now this could be a good choice for or a good thing in the review, this is something that I might like, this is a good idea, this is maybe not that good of an idea. So what they don't do yet is properly try to even judge the phone. They just want to present it to you. And that's why those YouTubers who do that are way more marketable. I am not someone like that. And yeah, I know it's a little bit sad, because I would like to be invited to more events like these, because it's also a little bit of appreciation if you get invited to an event like that, whatever it might be. This kind of knows you are on the radar, you are someone by now. And after all, if you are doing YouTube, you are at some point you just start to become someone who wants the attention, who wants some feedback, who wants to be seen. Because yeah, sure, I wanna give you all the information, I wanna get the interaction and all that. Yes, I do. But at some point, and for me, it was for like 3 years, not even a thing. But the first time I was invited to an event, and so it was nice because they wanted to know also your opinion. Because if they talk to you person to person, they kind of then you feel like you actually matter. It feel like you maybe could actually have an impact. You don't really have, especially not someone like me. But it's nice that you even get asked for. Not that it will ever come out of something out of that, but it is nice, and I have to give it to that. And that's why I would like to get there to that point. But the way I am, it won't happen. And yes, I know all my loyal viewers will now say, that's not true, you will, and so on. Because actually, this is one thing that I'm a little bit disappointed by, that I didn't quite achieve it just yet. I slightly missed it, my 50,000 subscriber mark, because I am about, let me actually check how far I am off by now. I am at 49,868, so I still need a little, like 142. So I guess sometime Sunday. I don't think earlier. If it's the rest of the day, a good today, maybe. Because I had a very strong month. I would say actually like month and a half, maybe 2 months, with an average of 130, 140 subscribers a day. Usually my long-term subscriber average a day was at 70, 80. So I almost doubled that for a month, almost 2, and that was great. I really enjoyed it. It was fun as long as it lasted. Back then, after the giveaway ended, it was just a 40 day, and then again a 100 a day. So I guess today should end at somewhere. Where am I actually? Let me just check. I am stats obsessed, I know. At the moment I am at 58, so it's a little bit of a weaker day because the day is almost over in some way. Yeah, okay. I guess I covered that point. So marketable. So let me think of that, what you think. Because would you actually prefer to see more of those raw YouTubers on these events? That is something that I would like to know, because that's actually something that I'm always missing on these events. If a device comes out brand new, I want already the really good details, the things that I don't get from a release sheet. How does it feel in the hand? How does the screen actually look? Not just, oh, it's a nice 1080p screen. That helps no one. Okay. Fanboys. Ooh, that could turn out a long or not topic. Because I want to actually address 2 specific kind of fanboys. Brand, let's say phone fanboys, where I noticed the biggest trouble that I have with. Now, number one, and that's not, I mean, the number one that I have a problem with, but one is Sony, and the second one, as of just recently, because they were anywhere before, at least of the recent past, Nokia. Now, there is a big difference between those two, because after my experience of reviewing Sony devices for like 3-4 years already by now, I've noticed one thing, which is a common thing from pretty much all the fanboys. And I don't mean the reasonable ones, I mean the fanboys, not the fans. I mean the really irreasonable, is that the word? Irreasonable? The not reasonable ones that you can't argue with. And even if you try, or if you just are stupid enough to get into a discussion with them, there is no way you will convince them. So, what's the issue? What you always will get is, you are always pointing out just a bad thing, you are a Sony hater. So pretty much on every review, on a Sony review, if you just mention one not that great thing, but 10 amazing things, you are a Sony hater. There is just nothing else. And of course you are biased. Also, you don't know how to use the brand, the phone. Because I've seen this so many times. Because, I don't know, there was one review, in my opinion, it was very positive. After all, I said it's a great but I did throughout the review, which just can't be avoided, also pointed out not that great stuff. And those people only heard that. Because I've said, wait, didn't you watch the review? Didn't I say this is amazing, this is great, this is the best, this is this and this? And of course, not everything can be perfect, but no, they only heard, oh, he said something bad about the camera, he said something bad about slow processing times or anything like that. And of course, I can't use the device because I have no clue what I'm doing. After all, I'm reviewing Sony phones for about 4 years and pretty much all of them. So yeah, obviously, I can't know anything about them. I don't know how to use them. I do it wrong. And of course, I'm biased and I'm a hater. And this wasn't different on the review of the Sony 1000Xs, not on the 950, and once on the headphones, because no matter what kind of device, if it's a tablet, if it's a headphone, if it's an in-ear, if it's whatever it could be, yeah, sure, I'm a Sony hater. After all, I have a pair of Sony headphones, not my most favorite ones anymore, and my favorite cam is what you can see up here. Okay, you can't see a Sony A6000, and I would definitely like to replace my Panasonic with a Sony A63 or 6500 if it would be necessary, because right now it just doesn't make sense because this one still does the job just fine, but I would. But back then I just didn't know better. I got drawn into a little bit of some wrong reviews about the cam that I use right now. I'm super happy with it by now still, but Sony, in my opinion, just due to the better shallow depth of field, has the better cam. So also, for example, my brother has 2 TVs and both are from Sony. I don't have a TV. I don't have a Sony TV. I only have a projector, and I don't have anything against Sony, but I also don't have anything for them because I use, for whatever kind of category of device, the one that suits me the best. And if it's a Sony, nice. If it isn't, nice. Because it doesn't have to be. Why should it be? Because I don't get brand loyalty. What has the brand ever done to you? If they produced a few great devices that you loved, nice. But if they then produce a crap device that just doesn't deserve the praise, shouldn't you just be able to accept that? No, they say, no, you are wrong. This is not. It is a great device because it is a Sony. And on so many comparisons that I do, so many comments are just, Sony is the best. Sony, this is bad. This is not a Sony. That doesn't make no sense because the brand doesn't really care for you. All they care for is your money. And if you spend it and are happy with the device, or if you spend it if you aren't happy with it, it doesn't matter for them. They got their money. So that's why I just don't understand brand loyalty. What is it? And maybe you can tell me, what is it that draws a person that tries to defend on every possible situation a certain brand with real extreme harsh loyalty? And I'm not just talking about, no, you're wrong. I mean, okay, I didn't get death threats, but different people did get. But always telling people you are stupid, you are an ass, you are a dumbass, you are an... I don't want to say some more things that I was called already, besides, of course, the obvious things like biased, hater and all that. That's normal, but some more harsh ones. And as I said, the Sony ones call you mostly hater, someone that has no clue what you are doing, and a fanboy, and what did I say? Wait, fanboy, hater, someone who doesn't know what she's doing, and someone who's just biased. That was it, biased against the brand. Now, the difference with Nokia users or fanboys is something quite different, because I think they kind of lost it completely at some point, especially from what I got on my... Yes, okay, I know my Nokia 6 rant was quite harsh, but in that moment I felt like that, because many said that I just went way too far. I went completely nuts. I went completely too extreme. I was completely irrational. Maybe. But in that moment I felt like that, and yes, after a while, of course, things calmed down. But at that time, it was my opinion, and my opinion is still the same, just a little bit more calm. But what was I called? Oh, I can't really tell this because I would get into trouble on YouTube. But the Nokia fans, they are way more brutal. They don't just call you wrong, they just call you so many extreme things. And I think that has just something to do with the fact that, yes, I was a little bit harder. If maybe I would have been a little bit more calm, would have tried to explain it in a more fashionable, understandable way, that even a non-reasonable person who is brand loyal to hell just has to understand it. Because the problem is, if you talk to a fanboy and if you are aggressive to him, he sees this as a personal offense, and then he reacts even more so harsh. If I would be reasonable, so yeah, I don't really care, this and that, Or I don't think actually that would actually make them even more so aggressive, because the arrogant way is something that makes people even more so aggressive. But maybe what I just said, this phone is not good because the specs for the price just don't match it. If you see it, yes, the build quality, because what I was told on every comment pretty much, the build quality of the Nokia 6 is the best, and you can someone even said you can throw it out of the first floor, level. Out of the window, nothing will happen. Yeah, okay. If you really stand to what you're saying, buy it, throw it, record it, and show me. And if you really have the balls, if you really are that trustworthy in the phone, in the brand, do it. Prove me wrong. I would really like to see that, because yes, the construction was good. Very good, actually, maybe. And I said that it is, for the price, absolutely super nicely built, even though I didn't like the design. It felt just way too edgy. But of course, I'm wrong. I'm holding it wrong. I'm seeing it wrong. My hands are off or anything like that. Yeah, fine. Non-reasonable. So I guess I maybe need a little bit more experience with Nokia users. So maybe because it was the fact that I was a little bit too aggressive and they saw this too much as an offense, and they responded even more so extreme. Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, same as with the Sony users, they only see the bad things that I said. Because everyone says, why did you say the Snapdragon 430 is crap? I did not say that. I said that it is unbalanced, that it doesn't match with a 1080p display, that the performance is just not good, not for this price. I did not ever say it's not good, because the performance is not bad, and I said that on the Lenovo K6, because I would have been a completely hypocritical guy if I would have said the performance is bad, if I did on the exact same combo, 1080p display with Snapdragon 440, say it's good, or whatever I said back then. I said already something was a little bit off on the Lenovo K6 as well, but here I just had way too many slate runs, and everyone says, what did you expect? It can't be a flagship. And for example, iPhone, blah, iPhone that, and I said to them, you can't compare Apple, who is the biggest phone selling company, single company after all, with someone like Nokia, who was pretty much dead and still isn't what it was. Because that is also one thing. Some say, no, you are wrong, because how can you say that about Nokia? That's not Nokia, that's a Chinese brand. But whenever I said, yes, I know it's HMD and it's just a name, no, it's Nokia, it's the amazing Nokia that we all know. So what is it? Is it Nokia and the perfect company, or is it HMD? Make up your mind, because I got facts from both sides that I was wrong, that I can't say it is that and this is that. I did not mention, I think I actually did not mention HMD once, because I did not want to start it, because someone said, you should definitely have pointed out that we are not talking about Nokia, we are talking about HMD. But I knew, if I would have mentioned HMD and all that, the discussion would have blown out even more so out of proportion, as it did already. But yeah, I got it. I got the memo from myself. The video is already long enough. So let's, I think, end this like this. Like I said, don't take this all that hard, because this is like my vent on a Friday evening. I wanted to make this video. I wanted to share my opinion, a few things about with it, and to kind of roll off into the weekend, where I will make more videos, where I make maybe a live tech Q&A and so on. And maybe you enjoy this video, so because I still do, that's the reason why I'm doing this. So I don't want to sound, as I did in the past, so super negative on these ramblings. At the moment, I like it as a vent, and if you like it still, definitely maybe give it a thumbs up, or do whatever you want. But yeah, I like doing that. After all, as you can see, my mood is good, and it is good. Okay, let's add this. Bye.